I'm very, very proud of the degree to which our teams keep our operational infrastructure live, resilient, cyber safe, physically safe, to your point, and all those things. Very proud of the way that we do that. Is that sustainable looking forwards? Again, it's part of that sum that says it's becoming too much of a thing. When you start to think about the power station that drives it, when you start to think about the physical space it would occupy, and so on and so on, it all gets bigger, almost exponentially bigger. It'll certainly early logarithmic development bigger. It all gets bigger. Do I have any concerns around security in any sense with Microsoft? Of course I do. Are they very transparent about their resilience characteristics in terms of availability, security, cyber safety? Yes, they are. Do those stated committed terms of engagement, contracts if you want, pass our bar? Yes, they do. So again, in any partnership, this is about, do these people pass the bar, which they do. And it's not a question whether I'm happy about it or not. It's not a question whether I stay awake at night. Of course I do. When I hear there's been an Azure outage, I'm oh my God, what's happened? Did we used to have outages in the past? Yeah, of course we do. Do you build resilience tactics and so on to make sure that those outages, which are inevitably going to happen, affect your throughput of workload? Well, that's what we all seek to do. And who are the masters of that domain? Well, the cloud companies. So, I'm not suggesting that our teams don't do anything but a fantastic job. Are we a Microsoft? No. Do we aspire to be a Microsoft? No, it's not our job. Our job is to do the fundamental research, the pioneering research, to convert that into models that represent the future state of the atmosphere, to turn those models into useful data that can be used by operational meteorologists for advice and guidance to our users, and in data sets that help people make better decisions. That's changing too. Increasingly we live in an automated world, so increasingly our customers are things like machine learning algorithms, other people's machine learning algorithms. So the whole world's changing on the supply side. It's no longer, go back to 1950. In 1950, the sole user, really, two users of our models were the meteorologists to help them describe a weather forecast, and our scientists to help them better understand the workings of the atmosphere. That was it. And maybe some collaborators in other organizations that do much the same thing. These days, we've got billions upon billions of consumers all trying to do different things, some of whom are not people, a lot of whom are machines. And in the future, I expect that ratio of machine users to people users to become ever more. Because although, and I'm not popular for saying this, this might be a good thing to finish on, by the way, but I'm not often popular for saying this, but if you think about it, nobody really wants a weather forecast. To be slightly more correct, few people want a weather forecast. What people have been trained to do is to accommodate weather, which is almost ubiquitous in decision making. If you think about it, almost ubiquitous. They're actually trying to make a decision, and working with others. The Met Office don't aspire to do all this ourselves, but working with others and affording the right technology to accommodate it, integration with the Internet of Things, integration with a machine environment. Our job, in partnership with others, is to answer those specific questions. They can be as trivial as what's the best day next week to cut my lawn, right through to where's the best place to site a nuclear power station. There are specific decisions that need to have answers to, and the Met Office and the information, the guidance that it provides us are part of that decision-making process. Sometimes almost completely. So a use case might be a fighter jet. The fighter jet's on the runway. The weather's a bit sketchy. Should I take this plane off or not? Is almost entirely a meteorological decision based on parameters. So sometimes the decision is almost like a weather forecast, but oftentimes,
well, we got the famous decision about D-Day.
Yeah, quite.
Wasn't he an RAF meteorological officer?
Absolutely was. And D-Day was shifted by a day almost exclusively because of guidance and advice that was being provided by a Met Office employee.
About future technology, what about quantum computing?
Okay, quantum computing is as much a engineering endeavor and an IT endeavor, if you want to see it that way, as it is a mathematical endeavor. And so, in my view, the application of machine learning of quantum in our space and many applied spaces is at least as much as dependent upon development of mathematical algorithms as it is on the development of a quantum computer. So we all famously know that things like Shor's algorithm, the factoring of large prime numbers or prime numbers, any prime numbers, including large ones, directly out there around cybersecurity, because as we all know, that's how we create cyber safe stuff. That's a hot spot for quantum computing, because Shor's algorithm is also something that's been mathematically described in quantum. There are other algorithms that are successfully being described. Until such a time when the balance shifts to enough of the mathematics being able to be applied, and there is some great progress, then for us, for me, quantum is interesting, but a bit way off down the horizon. That said, there is a specific thing that we do is the most computationally demanding part of our process, which we call a simulation. And this is the act of, if you like, setting the physical simulation models up with the current state of the atmosphere, and then in short-term evolution, correcting how that model evolves with a known state of the atmosphere. That process is called a simulation. And that simulation process fits mathematically, and we won't go into it, we don't have time, but fits mathematically very, very well with quantum computing. So it may well be that in a few years' time, I'm not going to put a number to it, we're back talking about how we're working with somebody to apply quantum computing to a simulation as part of the NWP process. In terms of resolving the Navier-Stokes equations, solving partial quadratic equations, partial differential equations on some kind of Lagrangian grid. When will that happen? Probably not in my career.